What is today's date? Do we know? I don't even know.
Let me look at my Fitbit. Sunday, December 30th.
That makes sense because tomorrow's New Year's Eve. Do you want to talk about New Year's?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have any? Well, we did have plans. It doesn't sound like we have plans anymore.
Yeah, are you bummed about that?
A little bit. My whole thing is like when I commit to something, albeit it's a Facebook invitation, I don't like to back out.
Even via Facebook invitation?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just weird like that. I think that's how I was brought up, though.
I know you're weird about that stuff, and I'm just like, meh.
Well, I don't know. It's one of those things like when you commit to something, in my eyes, you just commit to it. So I was under the impression that we had babysitters and all that. And you did tell me that you were going to talk to your parents like 2 weeks ago.
I know, and I forgot, honestly.
Okay.
But then as it got closer anyway, and they said we were going to get snow and whatever.
Who's they? Your parents?
No, the weather people.
I know.
I mean, it said 2 to 4, and it was starting with snow and then turning to ice like right after midnight. So I don't know. I know my parents are weird in general about driving on New Year's Eve.
Right.
Just not wanting to be out, and I'd feel bad. Plus, with the weather being.
So going back to that, do you know? Maybe you don't know. Is it just their thing? They don't like to drive on New Year's.
Yeah, they just don't. Just because it's dangerous.
The culture, is that a thing? Because I saw someone else. I don't know if it was on Facebook or Instagram or something. Someone else was like, "Yeah, they just don't like to drive on New Year's."
Yeah, I mean, nothing has happened, but it's just the fact that they don't trust other people in general. And so especially on New Year's Eve being out, they're just like, if we can avoid it, we're not going to be out.
That makes sense. Because if you think about it, it's probably, well, and we live in Wisconsin, so it's probably like the one time a year where there's more people out driving that shouldn't be.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And when I say we're from Wisconsin, I mean that in the way of like, I would say on any given Thursday, Friday, Saturday, there's a lot of functioning alcoholics on the roadways.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't condone that by any means. But I don't know. That's just, people are weird like that. So yeah, New Year's, we had committed. You were actually even in the Facebook group, to reiterate, there's a Facebook group for like a private event for like a party, just to get organization underway. And I think you were the one that said you were going originally. I hadn't even seen it yet.
Probably, but it's one of those things where I don't fully commit based on what I say through Facebook.
So you just always say you're going, whether or not you're going to go or not.
Yeah, and actually, my coworker Emily.
Hey, no name dropping.
Well, it's
we'll
fine.
have to bleep it.
My coworker. This is just a trial anyway.
Yeah.
She always clicks on interested with like Facebook events.
Yeah, I mean.
So I've kind of done that too, and I'm like, oh, you're interested in this, and it's happening wherever, and she's like, yeah, well, I don't go. It's just I just always click interested.
No, I do that too, but I usually don't say I'm going unless I know I'm going. So to wrap my end of the story up, but I'm a little bummed because you said you were going, and then I was like, oh, we're going to go. And we did talk about it. And then I said, all right, we're going. And we just got to figure out the babysitter situation. And then it was like last night or today. It sounds like we're not going. So I put in the group, I put it as maybe now, but then I put like, babysitter situation.
Yeah.
It's falling through.
Well, I can still reach out. It's probably not impossible.
Well, the other thing too is I don't know if your parents are set up for sleepovers yet. Because that would be...
I know, that would be ideal. I would just have the kids stay over there.
That would be really convenient because they're closer to my parents now. So that would be nice, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't think they have a crib. I think it's up north.
Up north? You just click at me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
But anyways, no, I don't think they're set up yet, but there's no reason that they shouldn't be with how much room they have.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't have to be. I don't know. I put myself in their shoes. I wouldn't necessarily just have a crib laying around if it wasn't going to get utilized. It's easier when they're a little bit older. Like
I
even
know.
Hayden, she could probably sleep in a regular size bed, like
Yeah,
twin or whatever.
should be fine.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a little bummed about that situation, but it's fine. We'll have our own little party here.
Well, I can still ask tomorrow if you want to go.
It's no big deal.
I
It
mean,
is tomorrow though, so I mean it's kind of late. I
I know.
wouldn't even ask at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is nice to see everyone. I just wish it wasn't so far away.
Well, maybe next year we'll have it here then. We've lived at this place for a year and we haven't had a housewarming party.
No, but there's been plenty of people that have been over.
Yeah, but for like random things. I don't know. That's another thing I feel bad about though, because I've told people, like our old neighbors and everything. It's like, oh yeah, we got the birthday parties coming up on the 4th of July, so the house should be clean. That was our main thing for the longest time. The house wasn't clean because when you move, you have boxes just everywhere. Basement, garage, extra rooms.
Yes, but in my defense, I had just cleaned out this bottom part. How many months ago? A couple months ago.
Like the main room down here.
Yeah, and I really wanted that to be cleaned
Yeah.
up before we had people over. And over summer, it was a hot mess. And I didn't necessarily make the time at that time to clean it up. It just wasn't a priority at that point. But now that it's cleaned up, I don't mind having people over.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about why it took you so long to clean it up? Just overwhelming, or I don't want to put words in your mouth.
It was overwhelming.
Is that just a thing with you?
What do you mean?
Ooh, that was a heavy sigh. The mics hear everything.
I know.
I don't know. I guess and I think I know what you will say, but I want you to speak your mind about it. But I know on several occasions, like I tried to get the ball rolling, but I don't know where you want things. So I feel like all I was doing is just moving stuff from one place to another. Like I don't think I was making any headway per se.
Yeah.
I was like organizing chaos, if you will. Which, I mean, I'm good at doing that, but
yeah, I think it was just overwhelming and I wanted help, and I know that you said you would help and you did help, but to me, I don't like to do pieces of things. Like, okay, just do a chunk this day, a chunk the next. Like if I'm doing something, I'm all in and I'm going to finish it and be done with it.
that's ironic because that's kind of opposite of the whole going back to the Facebook event thing. Because I mean, that's my mindset. If I'm doing something, I'm all in. Like what you just said, that's what I apply to like events. I'm not going to say I'm going unless I'm going.
Yeah, but to me, it's social events is
different.
Totally different than like a to-do list.
I hear you. And
so that's kind of how I treat it.
I gotcha. And we've talked about that before, like, excuse me, in general, when you start a task, you pretty much want to see it through within the same day and as quick as possible, essentially.
Yeah, I'm not good at just doing a chunk, because it's kind of the same thing at work. Like if I start something, I'm going to finish it no matter how big it is.
Sure.
And everything else is going to get pushed aside because I'm just all in. If my mindset is there, I just want to finish it and get it out of the way.
Not to interrupt, but would you say that makes you kind of tunnel vision, or like you're focused on the one task and you're not good at multitasking? Which I don't like the word multitasking anyways, because you can't really multitask. Like I don't think it's possible. A lot of people say they can. I think I've even said I can multitask. It's more of like prioritizing and focusing your time on, let's say I got 10 things to do on one day. Which of the 10 is going to get the highest priority and the most focus versus, I mean, that's how I would classify multitasking. But would you say that's kind of how you tackle things then?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not good at multitasking and I never have been. It's very much like.
I don't know. I need someone to define that to me, because even when I interview places, they're like, well, like, you know, what are your strengths and stuff? It's like, I say multitasking, but I think what I mean is I'm good at handling an array of tasks that need to get done.
Sure.
Like prioritizing what time should be spent where. But to me, I don't know if that's necessarily multitasking. I feel like that's just management.
Yeah, no, that's management.
Like time management.
You're good at that. You're very good at that. I would say multitasking is, you can talk on the phone, clean, and make dinner at the same time.
Oh my God, I got a funny story about talking on the phone. So last week, Brenda from work, Not to interrupt, sorry.
Yep.
I did interrupt, but
Mm-hmm.
anyways, it clicked in my head. I was on the phone talking to her and I was multitasking. So Brenda, I apologize if you ever do hear this, but I was working on something when she called me, so I was like half listening because I tend to do that anyways. And all of a sudden, I didn't even take a drink of anything, but like when you choke, like I literally choked on my spit, like it just went down the wrong tube.
Yeah, that happens.
It happens when you're trying to multitask, apparently, because I was like designing something. She was on the phone talking to me about something that wasn't really important to me. I mean, it was important to her clearly because she called me, which once again, I'm sorry. And I just started coughing and I couldn't stop coughing. And like I coughed right in her ear. And then I finally pulled the phone away from it and she could still hear me. And she was still talking because I could hear her out of the receiver.
Oh, God.
And I couldn't say anything because I like couldn't catch my breath. And I was just like choking essentially. And all of a sudden, she was just having a conversation with herself, and she's like, "I'm just gonna let you go. Okay, we'll figure it out." And then she hung up, and I immediately got on Instant Messenger, and I'm like, "I'm still like coughing. Like, I'm sorry, I just coughed in your ear." I felt so bad, but then I also felt bad for the people that were around me. Granted, not a lot of people were in the office last week because of the holidays, but it's just one of those things where I was like, I felt like I was dying, and I just couldn't. It was almost like it was stuck in my throat. Essentially.
Yeah. Oh, my God, that's funny.
Yeah, but sorry. So multitasking.
No, not good at it.
Okay. But when you do something, you set your mind to it and you just focus everything.
Yeah, and I'm getting better about it. I mean, I always go back to the example of cleaning. So I know I have to vacuum, dust, clean the bathrooms. So sometimes I'll start cleaning the bathrooms and then I'll walk in our room and be like, "Oh, it's so dusty," and then start dusting. So I used to do that, and now I'm training myself to be like, okay, start vacuuming. Once you're totally finished with that, then you move on to dusting. Then
Sure.
once you finish that, and I'm getting better, but it's training yourself to think that way.
Can I have one minor critique?
Yeah,
You should dust always before you vacuum, shouldn't you?
probably.
I don't know. When growing up, we'd always do house cleaning on a Saturday in our household, the old farmhouse, and I always felt like we would dust before we vacuum because you stir up the dust.
Yeah, no, that's
I
smart.
don't know. Semantic. I don't know.
No, it is. That is smart. I think I've always gotten in the habit of either cleaning the bathrooms first or vacuuming first and then cleaning the bathrooms. And dusting's always last because I'm like, well, if I don't get to it, it's fine.
Sure.
I can live with it. I can't live with dirty bathrooms or the floor being.
See, I'm like the
mess.
opposite. Like, I would rather have everything dusted.
Really?
I think it goes back to like my allergies and stuff.
Oh, probably.
And I don't even know if I'm really, because it's the only thing I've known my whole life. So I don't know if I'm like necessarily sensitive to it. I just think I notice it. So like if I
Sure.
run my hand across something or a finger across something, I see dust. I almost impulsively have to just kind of dust that area. Not always. I mean, you've probably seen my side of the bed and everything. It's dusty, but
Yeah, it's dusty over there.
yeah, I don't know. That's just me and the old allergies.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. I hate dusting. I just think it's kind of pointless, but I don't know. I just do it.
You have to. I mean, it helps, especially with the kiddos, with everything.
Well, and I think that's why I kind of do it now. Like when we first had our apartment in Fitchburg and stuff, I would kind of just do stuff. But
Think of how long it takes us to clean this place versus what it would take to clean the Fitchburg apartment. To put it in perspective, we had in Fitchburg a 1-bedroom with a loft. So it's kind of like a 2-bedroom, but the loft was just open, right?
mm-hmm.
How many square feet do you think it was? Do you even remember?
No,
Maybe 1,000? Probably not even. I don't know.
it was still a pretty decent size
No.
for a 1-bedroom.
Because I'm thinking, so from there, we went to the Stoughton house, which was the first home we bought. And that was roughly 1,200 square feet, 1,400 square feet.
Yeah.
I think 1,400. So the apartment must have been about like 800, I think. Because it was not big. It was not big at all. Might have even been less. I don't know. I honestly
No,
don't
but I
remember.
guess it seemed bigger with the loft and how you got
Well,
that
when it's open like that, open
that
space.
open. Yeah.
But you walk in, tiny kitchen to the right. Not even what I would consider dining area, but we had a little dining table that we set up there. And then it's kind of the living area where you'd put the TV and couch. If you went to the right past the kitchen, I believe it was, we had laundry?
Yeah, but it was in the closet. So it was a
Hallway.
bathroom and then the
Yeah.
hallway.
And then the bedroom.
Yeah, and that was it.
And then upstairs is just, we put an extra bed up there for guests, which I don't think we ever had anyone stay with us. And then computer desk up there.
Mm-hmm.
Man. I don't even remember cleaning it because it was so small.
Well, we did, but it took an hour maybe because it was just vacuuming and cleaning one bathroom.
And no kids to vacuum around.
Right, and everything was cleaned up because we were pretty clean.
You were clean. I was not clean. Still not clean.
You're clean. You're fine.
People, if people are listening to this and like they were just zoning out, they're gonna be like, "What are they talking about? Does he have AIDS? I don't understand."
Probably. But back to New Year's resolutions.
Yeah,
I think that was the main thing.
Not get AIDS. You're right. Good segue.
Oh, that's a good segue.
No, yeah. Do you? I mean, we don't. That was just an idea to kick things off for talking points today, but yeah, New Year's resolutions. I'm terrible with them because New Year's resolutions to me are like goal setting, which don't even get me started on like every place I've worked where you're supposed to set goals, and
Yeah, I
even through
know.
school. I remember I'll never forget the first time that I had to set goals, quote unquote. I believe I was in 3rd grade. And it was like a parent-teacher conference, and you had to set like 3 goals for the year or whatever.
Oh, wow.
It was traumatizing because it's like, I'm a 3rd grader. What goals do I have?
Right.
Don't get beat up on the playground and,
Yeah.
pull up my fly after I go to the bathroom. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
and I'll always remember one of my goals, and I don't remember the other 2 because I think there were 3. One of my goals, and Mrs. Oh my God, I forget her name. It was weird. It was like a KJ. She was like French. She was a French maid, but not like not the stereotypical French maid. Like she was a larger lady.
Oh, sure.
Great teacher though. Loved that class. Anyways, off topic.
It's your turn.
Yeah, E-Town. My my one goal that I remember was to be better at solving mathematical story problems.
Ooh, good goal.
For a 3rd grader, right?
Really good goal, yeah.
So, like your standard math equations would just be an equation that you solve, and timetables were big in
Yep.
3rd grade, which, by the way, I rocked the shit out of. I had this method where I would always work in like a zigzag fashion. So let's say as you read, top to bottom, left to right, I go top to bottom, but I'd start left to right. And when I got to the end, I would just go straight down. So then it'd be right to left. So it'd be like alternating. And then also my other thing would be as I'm writing the answer to one, I would already be looking at and solving the next one. Yeah, I had this
Overachiever.
down to a science because to me, I'm very competitive. It was like a competition, 3rd grade. I think you had like a minute to solve 100 equations or something like that. I loved doing that. And then the other thing was like knowing the little tricks, like anything 9 times whatever, the sum of the 2 numbers always equal 9.
That's the only way I remember stuff.
Yeah, but that made
Those tricks.
the 9s were easy. So then the ones that were always kind of a struggle were 7s and 8s. But my brother actually helped me with 7s. He's like, dude, it's just football scores. Just add them up,
Ooh.
So that made sense because like, well, most football scores I could easily get to like 35 or 42.
Yeah.
And then like, well, 7 times 7, that's 49. That's easy. And then you just add 7, obviously.
Yeah.
I think it was 8s. 8s were the hardest, but
Yeah, eight's were my hardest too, for sure.
anyways, down the rabbit hole. Yeah, so I just said get better or be better at solving story problems. Did you ever have goal setting?
No. Not when I
Never?
was that young.
What did you guys, so this would have been when you were in Wausau.
Yep.
Did you had parent-teacher conferences though, because that's a thing, I would assume. Not
Yeah.
really?
I mean, we did. I don't
Was it
remember.
just like, oh yeah, she's good, she's not?
I don't remember any of them. In middle school, we just had open houses.
Sure.
So it'd be like all the parents would
Yeah,
come
I'm trying
in
to
and
think.
just do like, teachers would be there going over their classroom and what they do and whatever. I don't remember parent-teacher conferences because I was elementary school.
Sure. I remember a few of them, but I guess, yeah, not many. And then going to middle school, I'm sure we had them, but I feel like middle school to me was really foggy in that regard. I mean, like, I remember a lot of social things,
Yeah.
but yeah, for the longest time, it bugged me because I couldn't, this is going to be way off topic, but we're just chatting, like locker combinations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just remember, I don't know if it's because I had a dream about it and like it was almost like a nightmare. I don't know what was going on, but I was at like my I think it was my 7th grade locker, because I was in one of these ramp hallways in the old Edgerton Middle School. It was a big circle. You wouldn't know it, but the people that from Edgerton would know. Big circle. I wasn't on the circle. I was on one of the ramps. And my homeroom teacher was the gym teacher, which was cool. So anytime we had homeroom, we'd sit in the gym.
Yeah.
Anyways, I had this dream, and I couldn't remember the locker combination of all things. And I don't know if I just always remembered them or whatever. And I was like, why don't I remember my locker combinations? Like, who in the right mind would even remember it anyways?
Right.
I don't know. I'm weird like that.
Did you remember it? Or
No, it's one of those things. Like, if I'm not using it daily, why would I remember it? But I guess I was so distraught in that dream. It brought it like to my forefront. I was like, well, yeah, why don't I remember?
Oh, goodness.
But then, like I said, in middle school in general, there's not a lot of things I remember. Like even classes and stuff. I remember some things, but I don't know. The fog. Even like high school, like classes and stuff.
It's kind of foggy.
Like, so when you think back to like your memories, what are your strongest memories? Probably like time with friends, the social events, maybe sports or whatever.
I wasn't in sports.
You did soccer, I thought.
Yeah, that was more middle school. Or sorry, elementary school.
So, but you probably have memories of it.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Good times.
What about so then high school, at this point you were in Florida.
Yep.
Because for anyone that would be listening, she grew up in Wausau and then she moved to Florida. Probably at the hardest time to move, I would say. Any time's not good when you're in school.
Yeah, when I was going into 8th grade.
That's tough. I think anything after probably like 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, and I think mainly because I grew up in a really small town. I mean, Wausau's...
It's not that small.
Oh, it was small at the time. Now it's a lot bigger.
What was do you know what the population was at the time?
No. I mean, now it's a lot bigger, and they like made it into this big city with a lot of different things. But
I feel like it's always, not to interrupt again, but I feel like it's always been big. You think of like the big cities in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay, La Crosse, Wausau.
Oh, Wausau was not in there.
Are you sure? I feel like if you were to look at a map and you'd see like the biggest named cities, when people still use maps.
Because Wausau is central Wisconsin, so of course they're going to have it on there because it's literally like the center point of Wisconsin.
Okay, fair enough. Continue. Sorry to interrupt.
It was small back in the day. It's a lot bigger now. And at least it was small in comparison to, whatever.
Right.
It probably might have been big to you coming from Edgerton.
So, true. Do you know how big your class size was at the time that you moved? In terms of how many people were in your class?
Well, I moved at the end of 7th grade.
So 7th grade yearbook, do you have any idea of like how many people? Ballpark, 100, 200, 300?
100 maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that fascinates me. And we've never talked about that, so I guess I wouldn't have.
I'd have to dig out the yearbook, I guess, to be sure, but.
Because I feel like, obviously, when I graduated, I think our graduating class of 06, bitch, was about 120 or so, roughly.
Oh, yeah. I was
and I feel like
comparable to that.
I feel like that was one of the quote-unquote larger classes in Edgerton, but I don't know. Anyways, you were at Wausau.
Yeah.
And then you moved to Florida going into your 8th grade year.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, I think coming from a small town, whatever you consider a small town, to a big city, I mean...
Where'd you move in Florida?
Bradenton. Sarasota.
Okay, so...
I mean, Sarasota, Bradenton, we were right on the borderline, but...
How big was that then? Probably seemed big.
It's big.
Do you know population? Roughly?
No, I don't. But I mean, it's big and it's very spread out. Where Wausau at the time was very like condensed.
Sure. So put that in perspective. You went from a small town, small school in Wisconsin, going into 8th grade, not having any friends. What time did you move? Was it like in the summertime or?
We did, yeah, in the summertime. So I did start school like on day 1 where everyone else was starting.
So that makes it a little bit easier. I mean, it's not easy, but when you moved up there or moved down there, technically, did you get involved in anything through the summer? Like, did you make any friends right away? I guess that's what I would always get hung up on.
No,
because it's tough in general starting a new school.
Well, yeah, and you know my personality. I'm very introverted, and especially, you take me away from everything I've known my whole life
Sure.
and drop me in this, to me, what seemed like a new planet.
It's Florida. That's understandable.
Right. Yeah, true. But, I I was not wanting to be there. So I was sad and depressed. So my willingness to open up to anything or to join things was like
Yeah. Yeah.
zero. I didn't have any motivation because I didn't want to be there. So I'm like, I'm not going to make this, whatever. And I think that's going off topic a little bit, but
No.
why
There's no topic.
my mindset is kind of the way it is now, where I'm like, you make the best of the situation that you're in.
It's funny you came to that, because I was going to ask you. It's hard when you're a kid, because it's hard to put anything into perspective.
Oh yeah,
and it's always easy. Hindsight's 20/20. But when you're taken out of an environment like that, it's tough. And I don't know. Growing up, I always wanted to be like the funny kid in class. So, but I never moved or anything. So I never didn't have like friends, and that's why like even talking to Hayden and stuff nowadays. We have a 3-year-old daughter. I always want her to like just be friendly to people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Even growing up in my small town, you could always tell there were kind of people that didn't have many friends.
Yeah.
And I just and bullying nowadays and everything else. It's like I feel bad because kids are kids, and I don't want to use that as an excuse, but they don't have a good perspective on things.
No.
And especially
your mind isn't developed at that point either to.
Well, and it's tough if they don't have adults in their, what's the word I'm looking for? Like in their life, or like influencing them is what I'm looking for. It's tough because if you don't have an adult to kind of put things a little bit into perspective, or a role model, if you will, that's gotta be tough. So anyways, we're talking about the memories and all that. You moved down to Bradenton.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get involved with things because you were just kind of, I'm sad kind of
thing.
You just shut down, essentially.
I shut down. Totally.
Well, and going back to what you said, something about like, oh, my personality. So her personality is what I'd say is, she opens up to people, but it takes time. And for whatever reason, that's just how you're built. Not everyone is like that, and there's nothing wrong with that or right with that. But anyways, you moved down there. What kind of memories then? Like,
oh gosh,
you obviously made friends eventually, I'm assuming.
I did. I mean, I made friends through school, and I think that was the biggest thing, obviously, because I wasn't involved in anything initially. But then I made friends. I mean, one of my best friends that I got to travel the world with, I met in 8th grade, and like she was one of the first people that I met, and like
Did she approach you or you approach her?
Oh gosh,
do you remember?
You're asking me to remember that.
I feel like that's a pivotal point, though.
I know.
Not that it matters who did what first, but so if you don't necessarily remember, it wasn't like an instant like we're best friends, which I don't think a lot of things are.
No, it wasn't.
It was organic, so it was.
It was organic. I think it was we were in the same class or had a couple classes together,
Sure.
And I just was drawn to her personality, and she's very nice, and we're kind of similar in some regards, but I don't know. And I think, in middle school where it's like pick a partner or you have to have
Sure.
a partner or whatever, and I don't know, I know we were partners on a bunch of different projects in classes, and I don't know, it was just kind of, it starts from something as simple as that. So I don't remember down to the detail of, who made conversation with who, but most likely it was her. She's a little bit more outgoing than I am.
That's interesting. Okay, so I don't remember. The only friendship I remember forming pretty instantly was my first friendship. Do you remember how your first friendship was formed?
Oh, how it was formed?
Like, were you in daycare? I don't know if I ever asked you that. Or like, because for me, Country Boy Ross, I don't think I was ever in daycare. Like, family took care of me. Yeah. And then I was dropped in preschool.
Yeah.
Did you have daycare?
No, I was at daycare.
Okay.
For sure. So, my parents, workaholics.
Yeah, but I didn't know if you had grandparents or anyone that watched you. I was blessed to have grandparents, on the farm that I was actually spoiled, if you think about it.
Yeah, no, That's super nice. No, I was still at daycare.
Did you have a friend there, or was it in school that you formed that first?
Well, it was daycare, but I don't remember this, but my mom, would always
Sure.
kind of remind me of whatever. But yeah, I had a couple gals I was close with, and then I was really close with my teacher. Like there's pictures
Really?
of me, yeah, in
That's good though.
the daycare parade or whatever, or the Halloween parade, because she was dressed up as like a Dalmatian and I was dressed up as something, and
And you
like
were a little Dalmatian.
no, I don't remember, but I was literally like holding her hand the front of the whole line
Sure.
of parade, because like I had to be, with her, because you form those relationships even
Definitely.
at that age. But yeah, I think it was instantly. I mean, like Hayden now,
Yeah.
daycare, you just at that age, you just draw, relationships and friendships.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, the only one I remember is kindergarten. So I didn't have daycare, and then I was in preschool. I want to say for 2 years. I think when I turned 3. I'm a September baby, so I think when I turned 3, I was in preschool, and I believe I did another year. When I
Oh,
was
sure.
4. I think it was a long time ago. I don't really remember. The only person. There's 2 people I remember from preschool. 3 people actually. I think Justin Eastman. We should probably not use names. I'll just use first names. Justin was one person. Luther was another. And then I had a crush. That was my first crush too, was in preschool.
Oh.
Girl named Morgan. I didn't get off the farm. That was probably the first girl I'd seen. But no, I didn't even have friends really then. I feel like I was kind of a lone wolf when I was in preschool, because I don't necessarily remember playing with people all that much. Although Justin always had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he would bring them from home. I always wanted to play with those.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until I got to kindergarten, and that was a new thing, because I think we had half day, so I was the AM class, because you had AM, PM. I was AM in Mrs. Trotter's class. Sweet little, I think, Hawaiian lady, I believe. I'm not entirely sure on that. But anyways, once again, I don't necessarily remember the story verbatim, but my good friend Kyle Luther, just got married. He said, yeah, you walked up to me and you go, wanna be my friend?
Oh, good Lord.
And we were
That's
like
so funny.
chum buddies from then on. And we both lived in the country. We rode the same bus. So I think it was one of those things, like the
Sure.
commonalities kind
Mm-hmm.
of aligned. But I feel like that's with anything, when you go off to
Yeah.
college, you just kind of assimilate with people that are like-minded,
I agree with that.
which I don't know. I just think that's cool.
I know, and as you were talking, I was thinking too about, so my daycare that I remember was when I lived in Madison.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, me too. Born in Madison, was in daycare, I think preschool, and I lived in Beloit for a hot second.
Do you know what Beloit's named after?
Oh God, what?
A fart in a bathtub.
Really?
Beloit.
Oh man.
I've told that on you. You've never heard that?
No, I've never heard that.
First time I heard that, I think I was a junior in high school, and our baseball coach dropped that on us. My ribs hurt so hard from laughing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
I've never heard that. But anyways, lived there for a hot second, and then after that we moved to Wausau. So in Wausau,
How long were you there then, in Madison? You were young, and then
I was young. I was born there, and then I don't know, 2-3 years maybe.
okay.
Beloit was only, I don't even remember. I think I just like blocked all that out. We were there for less than a year for sure.
Yeah, I remember your dad did say that. I think when
And
we've talked.
then I moved to Wausau. So Wausau, I started first grade there. So I did not go to kindergarten there.
You were in Beloit then.
I must have been.
You don't remember it.
I don't, which is weird. So I think it was either Madison and then Beloit, or just Beloit. But
That's funny. How crazy would it have been if you had stayed in Beloit just like your whole life? Because we probably would have crossed paths through sporting events or something.
I know. I can't even imagine.
Or hanging out at the Janesville Mall.
Right? I should really ask my dad about that, because I was so young. I don't
Sure.
even remember. So Wausau, I was enrolled then in first grade. And then that's where my memories are kind of, they come back, so to speak. But I don't know. I can't remember. Elementary school is such a blur. I don't know if you can remember a lot from elementary school.
I remember a few things, but yeah.
Maybe it's just because we're
we've
old
kind of
now. And
time gets away from you. We've kind of gone off a little tangent, but like we were originally talking about like goal setting with New Year's. So you didn't have any goal setting or parent teacher conferences in high school? Once again, it's probably just going over grades, I suppose.
yeah, no, not that I remember.
You don't remember parent teacher conferences at all, or what?
No.
Oh, okay.
They do things differently in Florida.
They do a lot of things differently in Florida. I just
all the crazy stories. The people are from Florida. No joke.
I just saw a video on Reddit today of someone said this is the most Florida thing I've ever seen, and I live in Florida. I'll try to paint the picture. I'm not going to do it justice.
Oh, love it.
But this guy's taking video of a raccoon going after like an iguana, a large ass iguana, mind you, in like a parking lot. And it's just the raccoon's like attacking him. And the video is on the two of them tussling around, and all of a sudden it goes away from the action. I'm like, well, what the hell? Keep on the raccoon. I want to see where this goes. The iguana, in its defense mechanism, dropped its tail, and its tail is flapping around on the ground like it's still alive. And then it cuts back to the raccoon and the iguana, and they're both still alive. I don't know what the outcome was, but the raccoon is literally dragging it behind a car like some thug. It was hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Like I said, I'm not doing it injustice. You should try to find that video out there, but it was good stuff.
Oh my God.
So anyways,
surprising.
No goal setting that you remember. I don't remember much either than my third grade one. For whatever reason, that's burnt into my memory.
No goal setting. I think if I did it, I didn't take it seriously, and I really still don't now because I don't like goals.
Do you set goals now?
No.
Not even like miniature ones?
No. And I've been involved with a lot of separate side companies that their biggest thing is goals. You have to set goals and you got to figure out a way to get there. And I don't like them. And that's probably why I don't like resolutions either. And I've never made a real resolution that I've stuck with.
Okay.
Because I don't believe that just the beginning of the year is the time to be like, I'm going to make this goal and make it happen. You can make it throughout the year. Like,
sure.
Make goals throughout the year. You don't need a new year to, do that. And I don't know why I don't like goals. I think because I don't like to fail. And I feel like I always shoot too high and I never think I'm going to get there and get it done. And if I don't get it, it's like, oh, great. I failed.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with you. I don't think you write down your goals. But I think everyone has goals, whether or not they're written down.
Yeah, but if you don't write it down, it
doesn't exist.
Well, you're just not held accountable. Because when you write it down, I think there's like a scientific thing behind it. Where then it's like
if you see it daily or whatever.
It's like if I look at it, if I write it down, it's like, okay, this is real. I gotta,
sure.
This is my goal. Versus, yeah, in my head, I have all these goals of like being rich and famous. Come on.
Oh, really? Is that a goal though? We've talked about that before. That's going to be a whole nother topic that we could talk an hour on.
No, it's just a fantasy.
I'm going to go back to goals and I'm going to come back to that. Remind me about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not big on New Year's resolutions either. I'm in your same mindset. I don't think it. You can make them whenever, like throughout the year. But I'm different than you, and so I don't write mine down either. So that's similar to you. But I'm different in the thinking that I do have goals. I think. I don't necessarily write them down. But there's things I strive for, I guess.
Sure.
Whether it be. I like my photo stuff, Photoshop, video stuff. Now this stuff, like, I don't know, techie stuff. I like learning new things. So I think I don't know if that's necessarily a goal or.
I don't think that's a goal.
Just a habit, like a thirst for knowledge, if you will.
I don't think that's a goal.
But my goal, I don't know, I don't write it down, but my goal could be just to learn something new every day.
Okay, but are you learning something new every day?
I try to.
Okay.
I mean, it could be, you could, I don't know, reading something in the news. Oh, I learned something new today.
Yeah, but I think it goes back to, do you feel super accomplished after you learn something new today or every day?
I feel super accomplished if I see something through that I didn't know how to do before, or like I figured something out. You probably witnessed it the other night. We have a Nest thermostat,
Yeah.
and the damn thing went offline for like a week. I couldn't control it from my phone. So I'm trying all these stupid troubleshooting things, and I probably wasted almost an hour at the thermostat cursing at it. And then I figured it out, and I just felt better.
I don't think that's a goal, though.
That's not a goal, but the task of figuring it out.
I think those are more personality traits.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a goal. I'm trying to think of what would be a good example for like a goal, though.
But my point is, to me, it's like if you have a goal, if you write it down in your mind, whatever, when you finish that goal or get to it, don't you have to feel some sense of like huge accomplishment? Like,
Yeah, and then on to
oh
the
my
next
God.
one.
I know, but I've never, even if I accomplish something really good, I'm not like.
Do you have an example of what would be a goal, though? Or something that you've done in the past? And you're like,
Actually, I take that back. I might have lied.
I think you did lie.
Well,
I see your nose physically growing.
No, I don't like goals. But one example of a goal that I did have was to run a half marathon. And this
Okay.
other goal that I have in life sometime is to run a full marathon. But after I did run my first half marathon, I felt very accomplished. And I was proud that I saw something through and did it.
Yeah. What prompted that goal?
What prompted that goal? The challenge of me thinking that I couldn't do it.
Didn't you win a competition?
Well, yes. At my last job, my name got drawn, so I had a free entry
Sure.
to this marathon, but they did have a 5K that you could do.
Sure.
But mind you, we were in Fitchburg, I think, at the time. And it was for Grandma's Marathon, which is up in Duluth, Minnesota.
Yeah, didn't you do that twice?
I did do it twice.
I was going to say, because I remember taking Hayden up there.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
That was when we left early because I think she was sick.
She was, but I remember just kind of sitting in the car because the way it started, your day starts early. First of all, we didn't get lodging right away. Well, we stayed at the same place we stayed the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting way off topic, but whatever. We're just chatting. We left that place probably at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And you had to be at your place by like 5:30, I think.
Yep, because I had to get on the bus that would take us to the starting point.
So then I go back to the finish line, and I'm there at probably 6:30. And when did it start? 6? 7?
6:30 or 7, I think.
Maybe it was 7.
Yeah.
And it's cold out, mind you, even though it's like, what was it, May?
They always do it mid-June.
Is it June?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cold up there, but it's
cold.
It's up in Duluth.
Yep.
So anyways, I just remember with like a 1-year-old sitting in the car waiting. And then even when you were running, I'm trying to look for you, but there's so many people.
I know. It's one of the biggest.
And you're like,
ones.
oh, I'm already at the finish line. It's like, what the hell?
It's okay.
I've been watching. I know. I felt bad though because I didn't get any pictures or anything.
Oh,
we got them
no.
afterwards.
That's not what it's about. You were there.
Anyways, so I have one comment about so you won the competition.
No, my name got drawn.
Well, competition, yeah, that's what
it was a raffle. Everyone
a random drawing.
A random drawing. My name got drawn. I'm like, okay, I get a free entry. I'm not going to drive 4.5 hours up to Duluth, Minnesota to do a 5K.
Okay, so that's why you decided you wanted
That's why I'm like, if I'm going to drive and bring my family with me. Actually,
but this is before.
This was before Hayden, sorry. Yeah. But bring you with me and take time off work.
You didn't have to bring me with. But anyways, continue.
Well, yeah.
No, I know. It was fun.
I'm going to freaking do a half marathon. I'm going to make it worth the 4.5 hour drive or whatever.
Interesting. So my comment was going to be, you're a person that likes to take advantage of opportunity. And when given the opportunity, I'm going to compare this to your shopping habits.
Okay.
When you see something is like $50 off, let's say it was a $150 item and it's $50 off. Whether or not you need that item, you're like, I'm getting a good deal, so I need to use it. Like it's is that a fair assessment
Yeah.
within reason? Okay.
No, it is.
So knowing what I know now, when you got your name drawn out of there, I applaud you for going after the half marathon because that's not easy. So that's definitely a goal that you set and you accomplished. And I'm not downplaying this by any means. But when you get that, because I think they drew 2 names out, I want to say.
They do too.
So out of the whole company, right?
Yeah.
It's completely random. So you were one of the names and you didn't want to pass it up because you're like, this is probably like a good opportunity. I don't know what it costs to enter and all that, but you didn't want it to go to waste, essentially. You didn't want the opportunity to be wasted, which I think is a good character trait. Not with shopping, but with other things like marathons.
Yeah, and I guess thinking too, I mean, entries for any type of running
They're
event,
not cheap.
Not cheap. I mean,
I think it was one of those things like you're thinking in your head, and I'm once again, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. You can correct me. I think it was kind of not a once in a lifetime thing, but you're like, this is a great opportunity. Like I should not pass this up.
yeah, I think that was my thinking because I'm like, oh, my name got drawn. It's running, I should, maybe start doing that healthy, whatever. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like Duluth, Minnesota. A, I've never been there. That's cool to, go
It's
someplace
lovely up
new.
there too.
And B, I don't know. I'm not going to pay to run. So,
Who pays to run?
So come on. The company's going to do it. Yeah, sure. Why not? So I think it was a combination of things.
Sure.
But then after I actually like entered and committed, I was like, well, crap. I don't really think I can do this. And so then it was a mindset thing of like, all right, you can do it.
Right.
And just amping up. But yeah, you're right. So that something else like prompted.
So, but that's the one and only goal that you can think that you've kind of set and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still think there's goals that are set maybe subconsciously or you don't write down and you still achieve them. I mean, I'm speaking at least for myself when I say that. I feel like I've got goals. Like I said, learning something new is not, I guess, not necessarily a goal, but I don't know. I think if you're not setting goals, you need something like to learn something new every day or something higher to grasp for.
No, I agree.
Because there is that fulfillment. If you're not getting that fulfillment, I don't know. To me, it just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it or to put it into words, I guess. That sense of accomplishment.
Yeah. I agree with that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just different where even if I write down a goal and it happens, it's like, great, it happened. But if it doesn't happen, I'm like, okay, it didn't happen.
But
I don't know.
I think it depends on your goal.
Well, I just always think like, yeah, I had a goal of getting married, not necessarily having kids because I didn't think that was going to be in my future. But, you always, yeah, that was a goal. But if it didn't happen, I don't know. I mean, I don't. How do you kind of quantify that, I guess?
I don't know.
It's not like, oh, I didn't accomplish that goal. I'm just, failing at life. No, I mean, maybe it wasn't in the cards.
Right.
So I don't know.
What about with work?
Oh, God.
Well, I'm just thinking, because we work at the same place, I kind of know how the internal operations go, and we shouldn't get into specifics just because we shouldn't. But I think any given day, there's kind of a set amount of goals, if you will, to accomplish. Task, if you want to call them that.
Oh, tasks.
Because when we were talking about to-do list earlier, I think there's some sort of fulfillment when you get something checked off your to-do list, isn't there?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily.
They're not goals.
Okay.
They're not goals, but to me, it's a similar feeling, and that's why I'm drawing this connection.
Sure.
They're definitely not goals. Goals are, I think, long-term. Tasks are short-term. That's my definition. Don't hold me to it.
No, I mean, to kind of play off of that a little bit, I do have a goal of just getting finances under control. We'll just leave it at that.
I think a lot of, if you talk to 80% of the households in America, that's some sort of goal in one way or the other.
Well, I think that's important. And I think that's one that, okay, when that's finally smoothed out and I get that under control, I think I'll feel a lot better.
Sure.
And I'll feel pretty accomplished about that and pretty proud. Because right now it's like,
Everything you're saying definitely sounds like it would be a goal then.
yeah,
But what I'm getting is you don't have to write things down for them to be a goal.
sure.
And I think day to day there's goals. Task or goals or whatever.
Yeah. And going back to the whole work thing, I don't like setting goals there either. I know we have to,
Shh,
you know.
they might be listening.
I don't mind. I mean, I'm open about that. I don't like goals in general, and especially when it comes to work, and because there's a lot of things within a year that can happen, and really your priorities can shift and different opportunities can come up during the year. And so I feel like at the beginning of 2018, I had these goals that now, soon I'm going to have to go back to and kind of just elaborate on
Sure.
how I accomplished them. But so many things changed and shifted, and there's new opportunities that came up. And so
you're talking about, like, once again, I don't want to get into it too deep. You're talking more about like a performance review type thing?
well, in a sense, that's when we set goals.
Sure. I guess I should elaborate it. I didn't necessarily mean that.
Oh,
I know what you're talking about. I would agree with your assessment. I feel like those are kind of like a PR thing.
yeah, but I also think it's good.
It is good, and
We do need those.
every company needs to do that, and I think every company does do that. I think if you ask, once again, 9 out of 10 people, employees that are filling those out, probably don't see the benefit of doing them. It's kind of like one of those things where, like, if you force me to do this, I'm not going to enjoy doing it. So
Sure.
you're going to sit down and you're going to write these goals, and you're not going to leave until you write those goals. Well, that's not going to make me want to accomplish these goals.
Right. That's fair.
So I agree with you there. I don't know. I still feel like within your job or within your occupation, there's always a goal or
Yes.
some goal, whether or not you write it down. Once again,
I agree with that. Not saying goals are to do tasks,
right?
but every time I go into the office, I know I'm thinking in my head, okay, my goal today is to finish this or finish this. And I kind of use that term goal, and I don't really know why. In a sense, I use it there, but really nowhere else. But, it's always like a hope and a wish to finish
What you
one
start.
thing.
Yeah. So on that note, I want to go back to what you were saying. My lifetime goal is to be rich and famous.
Oh, yeah.
Is that really a goal? And I know we've talked about this before.
No.
But you said it was, so there's some truth behind it.
I mean, I don't really think that it's a goal because it's not something that
But is it something you strive for?
No, because I'm not actively making moves toward that.
So you like the idea of it, though? I'm fascinated by this, by the way.
I know. I love that you're fascinated by it. Yeah. When I was younger, I always wanted to be famous and wanted to be an actress.
You wanted the attention or the money or both?
I think at that time, probably the attention. I'm the second child.
So am I. I would agree. I think I sought attention too, but now I've told you this too. Like, I had an opportunity. I would audition with Blue Man Group, and I always said that would be the best gig had it worked out for that time in my life. Now it wouldn't be. But the way I always say is like, yeah, I would be doing something I love, and no one would know my identity.
Right.
Because I'm under all that blue paint.
Right.
I think that is fascinating. I would love that. And obviously they probably don't make much money. I mean, enough to survive, but I don't know. The whole rich and famous thing, comes with too much baggage.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of those people work hard for what they do, and then, the paparazzi and everything else.
I know. And that's a whole nother discussion because people are on either side of that. I think, yes, you're doing what you love, but at the same token, you're in the position that you're in. And so it kind of comes with the territory. No, I don't think that,
So explain that to me. What are you getting at, though? I don't know what you're talking about. Just
well,
people
with the
complaining
whole
about paparazzi?
paparazzi and, oh, woe me, I can't even go to the grocery store without, these people wanting pictures and whatever.
Oh, yeah, it comes with the
I mean,
territory.
come on, man. Like, the people that put you in that position are the people asking for your autograph or whatever.
Sure.
My whole point is a lot of people are like, they're famous, leave them alone. Like, just let them live normal lives, whatever. And my whole thing is, they kind of knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak negatively on either side. What I would say about this is each party is trying to make a living, right? And there's probably some a-hole paparazzi out there.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the end of the day, there's probably a lot more that you don't hear of that are actually just doing their job of snapping photos or like, hey, can you just give me a line because I need to shoot this to my editor? And most of the time, they're like walking from point A to point B, so they'll give them something. Other times, once again, we're not in their shoes. We don't know what kind of day they had, so that they'll snap. And then that's usually the one that is going to be headlines and get that paparazzi the most money or whatever. Yeah. So it's kind of weird because once again, everything negative that I think comes out of even the media, it's because it's driven by money at the end of the day.
For sure.
So it's just fascinating, the whole rich and famous. I don't know. Smoke and mirrors, I think, is a good way that you put it.
Yeah, it's definitely not all as it appears.
Okay, so we should probably wrap this up soon.
Yep.
Do you have any New Year's resolutions that you would like to vocalize? Because it will be in written or not written audio form that you'll have to adhere by. And
no,
nothing.
I don't like New Year's resolutions.
Okay, fair enough.
I really don't. I mean, what I'm going to work on for the year is finances, and I have been working on that.
Sure.
But as far as a goal, I'm going to do this. I mean, I want to start running again. So hopefully maybe one day in the next few years, not even saying this year.
Should we get a treadmill or something?
Well, I've already been looking for cycling bikes.
Okay.
Because I really like cycling, and the Y doesn't have enough classes that I can attend.
Okay.
So I've been looking at that to just start, because then I can pop down here and just cycle.
Yeah.
That helps with running. So there's stuff I want to work on, but I'm not going to say I'm going to do this in 2019.
Sure.
What about you?
I don't know. Because I'm in the same boat. I don't really do New Year's resolutions every year. Well, probably, I don't think I've ever done them, ever.
I don't think
like, people say, oh, this, fitness is always a big thing. I should probably try to. I feel like that's just a cop-out or like an easy answer to say like, well, I should try to do like 100 pull-ups a day or something silly. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to check back in. Do you think I should have any?
No. I mean, because what do you want to work on throughout the year?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't like resolutions or saying that, but there are things that are like, hey, I'm going to work on this or try to put more of my focus on this.
Yeah.
Do you have any of those?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm bad at that. Like I said, I try to do the day-to-day stuff. Yeah. I have my interest, and as you know, I have my interest, so I tend to stick in those fields. I got one. I got a good one. You were talking finances. I want to rid my life of unnecessary clutter in terms of like, and I've, once again, with the holidays, we get all these new toys for the kids.
Oh, God.
Like my new rule is like, all right, if we get 10 toys in, 10 toys have to go out that haven't been played with in 2 months. And that applies to me. I'm big into photo and video stuff. So I've been saying it for probably a couple months now. There's lenses that I haven't used, so I just should probably get them on eBay and sell them. There, I said it. That's my New Year's resolution. Get rid of the clutter.
No, I do like that. I can
You can get on that bandwagon.
I can, yeah.
All right. We're at the hour mark. Should wrap it up. Good talk.
Yep.
New Year's resolutions for everyone. This is just trial run. I don't know. We'll see how it sounds and go from there.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Okay, bye. Love you.